Have you ever wondered if the universe has a secret recipe? A fundamental set of instructions for how to build, well, everything. Today we're diving into a really powerful theory that might just be that recipe. It explains how we get everything from the tiniest particles to the most massive galaxies. So, let's get into it.
It really all kicks off with this massive puzzle. When you look out into space, you see these incredible, complex, beautifully ordered things. Solar systems, galaxies, you name it. But how? How does a universe that started out as just this chaotic, messy soup of gas and dust create all of this magnificent structure from such simple beginnings?
Well, the answer, according to this really cool theory, is a simple three-part recipe that just repeats itself over and over. It's called Constraint, Resonance, Emergence Theory, or CRET for short.
So what on earth is CRET? At its core, it's a framework for understanding how complexity and structure just naturally emerge. It's not just stuff clumping together randomly. No, it's a super dynamic process involving feedback, hitting these critical tipping points, and then the system basically organizing itself into something new.
Okay, so the recipe has three key ingredients. First up is resonance, and that's all about amplification. I want you to think about pushing someone on a swing. Every push adds a little bit more energy, right? You're amplifying the motion. Then you hit a threshold. This is a critical moment of transformation. It's like you push that swing so high, so perfectly that it loops all the way over the top. And finally, number 3 is constraint. That's what gives it organization. The swing is held in place by its frame. It can't just go flying off into space. This trio, resonance, threshold, and constraint, that's the whole secret.
Now that might sound a little bit abstract, I get it, so let's make it totally real. We're gonna take this cosmic recipe and put it to the test. Let's try to bake our very first structure, a solar system.
You can see how it unfolds in these really clear stages. It all starts at the micro level, with just a random, messy cloud of gas and dust. But then, resonance kicks in. Gravity starts to amplify these tiny little dense spots, pulling more and more stuff together. This builds and builds until it hits a critical threshold, a point of no return, called the Jeans instability. This is where the cloud's own gravity just gets too strong and the whole thing collapses. And boom, the system transforms, reorganizing itself around a brand new baby star. And finally, at the macro level, that new star provides the constraint. Its massive gravity organizes all the leftover material into neat, stable orbits. And that's how you get planets.
What this creates is this really powerful, self-organizing feedback loop. You've got this upward resonance where tiny little fluctuations build up and up into this huge spinning disk. But then you get downward constraint, where that new star you just made imposes order back down on the system, stabilizing everything around it. It's like this beautiful cosmic dance.
All right, so the recipe works for a solar system. That's pretty cool. But does it hold up if we scale things way, way up? Let's find out and try to build an entire galaxy.
And what's absolutely amazing here is that the pattern is exactly the same. Yeah, the ingredients are different. We're talking about primordial fluctuations in the early universe and vast halos of dark matter. But the underlying logic of CRET? It's identical.
Just look at this. The parallel is stunning. For resonance, instead of a small cloud, gravity is amplifying tiny density variations across the entire early universe. The threshold is a process called virialization, where this huge gravitational collapse settles into stable dark matter halos. And the constraint? It's not just one star, it's the entire galaxy's gravitational field, which then organizes and regulates all the star formation happening inside it.
And get this, the idea of resonance isn't just a convenient metaphor here. Those beautiful spiral arms you see in galaxies, that's a literal physical resonance pattern. Astronomers actually call them spiral density waves. It is CRT in action right there for us to see.
Okay, so now for the biggest reveal of all. This recipe, it doesn't just stop at solar systems and galaxies. The theory argues that it builds everything. It scales all the way up from the tiniest particles we know of to the largest structures in the entire universe.
The pattern starts at the very smallest scales you can imagine, with quantum fluctuations building up the fundamental particles like quarks,
which then resonate and combine into the stable atomic nuclei that make up all the matter we see, which then, through that gravitational resonance we talked about, ignite to become stars. And it just keeps scaling all the way up to the cosmic web, this vast, unbelievable network of galaxies that is the largest known structure in the entire universe.
And this is the unified pattern. At every single level of reality, you see the exact same dynamic at play.
You have resonance, amplifying tiny fluctuations, sometimes through gravity, sometimes through the strong nuclear force. Then a critical threshold is reached, and the system suddenly reorganizes into something new and more complex. And that new structure then provides the constraint, stabilizing everything below it.
So you get this incredible two-way street of creation. You have this bottom-up flow, this upward amplification, where smaller parts build larger and larger wholes. But at the exact same time, you have top-down constraints, where those big new structures impose order back down. The geometry of the universe itself constrains where galaxies can form. Galaxies constrain where stars can form, and stars constrain their planets. It's all a beautifully nested hierarchy.
So what's the big takeaway here? I mean, why does a theory like this really matter?
Well, the core insight is profound. It suggests that the universe isn't just a random collection of things that happen to bump into each other. It's a creative, self-organizing system. All of its magnificent structure emerges naturally, all because of this constant dance between feedback loops and the boundaries they create.
There's a quote from the source material that just captures it perfectly. The entire universe becomes a nested hierarchy of resonant constraint loops, CRET in full cosmic expression. I mean, wow. It's a single, elegant idea playing out across every scale of reality.
And that, of course, leaves us with one final, fascinating question. If this simple three-step recipe of resonance, threshold, and constraint is powerful enough to build an entire universe, what else is built this way? Think about it. Ecosystems, economies, maybe even the evolution of ideas themselves. Could they all be following the same cosmic blueprint?